Hey y'all, today have a guest on that you guys will recognize, not even just from the show, but if you listen to WIP 97.3, that's where I first heard Ryan. I loved his stuff on there and then reached out and he's been on. You've been over there for a few years and then you're over at BetQL nowadays, right? Doing some of that stuff too?
I am, yeah. Same company, Odyssey, same company that runs, that's WIP essentially under that same umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah, so our BetQL studio is, right on the same floor on Market Street as the WIP studio. So, yeah, I'm doing the BetQL network for them, and I have a show every Saturday called BetQLU in the Action, talking everything, but we focus on national college hoops. So check us out.
College hoops. Yeah, my team hasn't been good in a while. VCU. We've been, we hang around, but we haven't been that good. You know what I'm talking about with Shaka Smart and all that.
Yep.
Absolutely. So yesterday, last practice, as far, people will listen to this on different days, but, timestamping this, Avonte Maddox practiced yesterday. Are you leaning towards we get to see him?
That's what it seems like. All signs point to he's going to play, right? Like you have to just go off of what we know and not what we hear. And what we know is he was seen practicing. He did practice on Thursday, as you mentioned yesterday now, as we record on Friday, the 27th. And it just looks like all signs are pointing to he's going to play. I spoke with John McMullen, amongst some other Eagles insiders and writers who are, at the facility every single day, who've been around this team all year. And, John said to me that it looks like he's going to play. That's not made official. He didn't get the inside information. I'm not saying that either, but just based off what he's seen and what he can tell, it looks like Avonte's going to play. And just assuming he does, that's a huge deal for a variety of reasons.
Gosh, it's unreal that if he's playing, they feel that he can play. He'll be Avonte Maddox.
Yeah, exactly. You're not throwing him out there if he's a shell of himself, if he's going to negatively impact you, obviously, and you can't predict that. But it's clear that they're confident that he's going to be able to play at a relatively high level. So that's all good signs from what it seems.
He's totally a good character guy. I don't know how much the listeners or you play Madden, but they have like the little trait on their like personality. I feel like Avonte Maddox is one of those like guys that you love. One of those guys you love to have on your team. Like just makes the season, a long season, feel less long. Like Slay seems like he's just like a great guy to be around in the locker room.
That's this team. Right. You can go up and down this roster. They just got a bunch of good dudes and they have a good mix of personalities, like from CJ Gardner-Johnson to Jalen Hurts, who's just like oozes swagger. And he's also just mature beyond his years. And then you have a coach like Nick Sirianni, who's sort of lets his emotions roll off his chest, off his sleeves. And like, they just have a good mix of leadership guys, of young guys, of veteran guys, and then obviously full of talent. So it's just, it's obviously nothing new here. We've talked about this all season, but it's probably one of the best, if not the best Eagles rosters / locker rooms of all time in their franchise history. And that's saying a lot.
They just got to finish the deal. If they finish the deal, then I feel like there's no close second.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Not to get like negative or dark here, but if they were to trip up and lose this game, which can happen, and that's not like
absolutely. And the Niners are a good team, with all due respect as well.
Right. No, exactly. Like the Niners are legit. You're in the Final Four. You're in the NFC Championship game. Like this is not a massive letdown. I'm not expecting a loss or anticipating that, but this is tough now. This is the big boys. This is the big boys time of the year, and we'll see. We'll see who's bigger on Sunday at 3.
Are you going to be in the building at 3?
I wish, man. I wish. I obviously thought about it. I obviously looked into it. I got a lot going on this weekend work-wise, but it's just the ticket prices are ridiculous.
They are ridiculous, man. I mean, 500 as we, another timestamp, it'll get higher later because the resale.
Yeah.
But as we stand now, it's about 500 to walk in the building.
It's crazy. And not to get sidetracked on this rant, because I can talk about this topic for like an hour, but they gotta do something about the secondary ticket market, Matt. It's absurd. Like, you have these people, it's how these people make a living. I mean, God bless, good for you. But like, at the same time, you're taking advantage of people that want to go, watch history, want to
cheer
go to
for
the
their
NFC
team
Championship game. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's double what it is in Kansas City. If you look at it, the Kansas City to go watch the AFC Championship, last I looked, it's about half that, 250, 260 to get in the building. I mean, that's pretty high, but that's a lot more reasonable. A lot more people, working Joes from Philly would be able to go to that one.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I went to the NLCS Bedlam at the Bank Harper home run game, and I'm still paying that off. All right. And it was worth it. It was worth every dollar.
Absolutely.
Every dollar. Every dollar.
Priceless.
Yep.
Bringing them up. I mean, what are the, compare the feels on those teams? Does this one feel different?
Yeah, it feels a lot different, but not in a bad way. They're different.
A better team.
Yeah. I mean, it's
the Phils are the underdogs. The Phils, this Eagles team, I'm sorry, we can't bring out the dog mask on this team, unfortunately.
No, this team is, and we don't know how to act. We know how to act, but it's just different. We thrive in the underdog. We're not supposed to be here. We're on a magic carpet ride run. You look at the Nick Foles led team. You look at the Phillies run this year. Like, we really rally around our teams. Not that we're not. I'm not implying that, but it's just
absolutely.
This is a different feel. This is like, expectations are high. Jalen Hurts has super exceeded anyone and everyone's expectations going into the year for the best way possible. You're a 1 seed. You're at home. You're expected to be in the Super Bowl and then win it.
So it won't be out of price range for any of those NLCS champion Phillies. You think any of those? Trout's going to be in the building. Who do you think? Bryce? No. They're going to bring Bryce in the building.
Yeah, man. Everyone is going to be there. It's going to be a who's who. Like the whole Sixers
Bradley
team.
Cooper.
Sixers will be in a box with Michael Rubin. Bryce Harper will be there. Like, all the Phillies. Brandon Marsh will be there chugging beers. Trout will be there. Bradley Cooper will be there. Kevin Hart will be there. It's going to be all the celebs.
I mean, what was Deebo thinking? I mean, with his comments, I mean, do you think that actually did he kind of try to put a target on his back to motivate himself? I mean, seriously, like, what was the logic there in what he said?
I don't think there was any logic. I mean, it was stupid, but I also understand it in a way. Like, I think he didn't want any part of that, right? Like, if you're trying to put 49ers shoes on, and you're a player like the caliber of Deebo Samuel, you don't want to get questions about the Eagles fans
crowd.
He's trying to downplay it, and he did a really bad job of it. He's like, listen, we have our fans. I've played in loud environments. We have a loud one here. I get what he was trying to say, but obviously that story now has completely blown up. But like, we don't need, as you are well aware of, Matt, like in Philly, we don't need any bulletin board material. Like, this place isn't going to be.
It was already going to be a 10. It was already going to be a 10.
It's going to be a 12, right? It's already going to be a 12, right? Whether Deebo said anything or not, this place is going to be stupid, right? So like, okay, Deebo Samuel. So now what? It's going to be a little bit louder? No, the place is going to be nuts. Maybe he gets a little bit more booze. I can see that, but this place is going to have a legendary environment to it.
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
So do you think AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, any of the Eagles receivers, go off this week?
I mean, man, you can pick any card, I feel like, with this Eagles team right now, especially with the receivers, but that's not my answer. I mean, what a terrible answer. Next question. No, it's AJ Brown. It's AJ Brown for me, because this is a game where you feel like it's going to be a dogfight. You feel like there's going to be some ugly possessions offensively on both sides at some point in this game. And Jalen Hurts is going to go to his comfort zone, and his comfort zone is A.J. Brown, and that's a smart comfort zone to have. So I just feel like this sets up for how the 49ers like to defend, what their defense typically looks like. I feel like the Eagles are going to go heavy run pass option, which is the smart approach. They always incorporate that. It's just a matter of matchup based. How much do they play out of that scheme? I think they're going to do a lot of RPO, and that sets up for, quick passes to AJ Brown, some deep shots to AJ Brown. I mean, this is a game where I can see AJ Brown having, upwards of 10, 12, 13 catches.
Yeah, I'm calling it. They had the betting line. I think it was 580 on AJ Brown, plus 125, over 125 yards. I mean, I love that bet. I think, I think AJ Brown's going to cook these guys. I don't think that they were having problems guarding Quez Watkins and Devontae Smith last year. So I feel like AJ Brown's a different cat.
Yeah, AJ Brown's just built differently. He's a guy that you're going to get a steady dose of that dude from start to finish. You mentioned Quez. He's been quiet for like 5 or 6 weeks. I can see Quez making a big play or two, especially based off what we've seen last time these two teams met. I can see him getting a deep ball or two.
That would set the place off, because he owes us one from the Commanders game.
I know.
So the place, it's like the Bradbury pick. It was just too perfect. You get a Quez deep shot, or Quez cooks somebody and, pieces them out like Tyreek. It'd be too good.
It would be. But I mean, listen, you have Devontae right now. I mean, you always have had Devontae, but this second half of this season, Devontae Smith is arguably been better than AJ Brown.
Arguably.
He's been unbelievable. And that's not like a slight on AJ.
No, it isn't.
Anything.
Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, but a bigger Reggie Wayne.
No, for real. I mean,
and Marvin Harrison.
Dude, we talked about legacy for this team to start this episode a little bit. I mean, if this Eagles team wins 2 more games, you look at this wide receiver duo right now as like one of the best ever.
Oh, just ridiculous.
I mean, the numbers they've put up, you can already make that case. But, if they have a couple more big games in them, my goodness, they're just absolute freaks of nature.
And then you got Dallas Goedert. I mean, it's a tough matchup. If you're D'Amico Ryans, he's a great again, I don't throw these words around. The 49ers are a very good team. D'Amico Ryans a great coordinator. I mean, but they got headaches this week to figure out. I mean, and then you got Kenneth Gainwell coming out of nowhere, dropping 100 last week. It's like, oh, damn. Now we got to figure out about Gainwell.
See, like you laugh, but you just made a really good point. I think that's Gainwell's biggest impact on this game is now he's just made another headache and another film session for the 49ers for putting up 100-piece on the Giants. Even if he's a non-factor in this game, even if he gets 2 carries for 8 yards, it's still another person that they probably weren't going to account for that they now have to account for, which just helps the Eagles.
It's just, it's a lot of exciting things going on. So, but okay, so a lot of units. We're thinking about a lot of different units. What's the one that you think has the best chance of just taking over the game for the Eagles on Sunday?
It's a really good question, and I'm going to stick with what we've been talking about, and that's the Eagles wide receivers, believe it or not. You sent me these notes of some of the questions we may get into, and this is a really tough question. I was going back and forth with it, but I talked about this yesterday a little bit on ESPN Radio in South Jersey, how the secondary for the 49ers is, it can be had. Right, the 49ers secondary is not one of their strongest areas on the field on either side of the ball. They were in the bottom 10 in passing yards allowed. They were like 24th in passing attempts. So they give up yards. They can give up the deep ball. You can just turn on the film at any point throughout this season. Seattle had a lot of success with them in the super wildcard round. Geno Smith to DK Metcalf. I know DK Metcalf is no bum, but AJ Brown and Devontae, they're no bums either. So I actually think this sets up for, as I mentioned, 12, 13 catches for AJ Brown. I think the wide receivers, AJ and Devontae, can have a huge game.
My unit is I like the wide receivers too. I do think the wide receivers are going to cook, but I think there's a potential for like Eagles 7-sack, 8-sack game. I think they might just eat out there like that. They have Trent Williams is potentially, definitely Hall of Famer for sure.
He's the best left tackle in the NFL.
No question. But their guards and their center can be had. Yes. And the Eagles are built. That's where they're built. And they don't have to play their tackles at tackle. If the game, you get those race car or those 4 DN sets, that could just get, it could get ugly.
That's
throw Graham in the middle.
Dude, it's on my notepad here. It was between the wide receivers and the D line. It's on my Ray Dittinger notepad. My notes are a lot worse than his, but I agree with you. I think the 49ers interior offensive line is, listen, they're a good group, but their interior can be had. As you mentioned, I think this is a game where it sets up for like Hargrave to have a big sack or a big play or two. Obviously Hassan Reddick, but he's going to be on the outside. They can obviously put him anywhere. But yeah, I think this is a game where if it's not the wide receivers, or it can be a wide receivers end type of situation where the interior D-line
might be both.
Yeah. Give me both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So you got a hot take on Brock Purdy. So let's just hear it for the people. I mean, I've heard some things you said this week. So just tell the people.
Who? Case Keenum Jr.? Is that who you're talking about?
Oh my gosh.
Casey Keenum?
I haven't heard that one yet. Oh.
It's Case Keenum Jr. Listen.
Junior. Oh my gosh.
I'm not here for the Brock Purdy love. This kid he's a cool story, Mr. Irrelevant. He comes in now as a third string quarterback. He hasn't lost a game yet. He's done a great job. Okay. But he's a backup. He's a third string quarterback for a reason. Okay. For a reason, Matt. And this team is stacked. Shanahan and that coaching staff, excellent job on the sidelines, stacked roster in between the lines. But this kid, if anyone who watched, and I know anyone listening watched the San Francisco-Dallas game, I'm sitting there laughing. Like, dude, take the training wheels off of this kid, man. Like, Shanahan was scared to death of Brock Purdy. This is a Jimmy Garoppolo situation all over again, right? Like, you give them credit. They've almost been winning in spite of him. The San Francisco 49ers were begging to lose that game last week against Dallas. They were begging them, can you please beat us?
How do you let Dallas get the ball back at the end? That to your point, I mean, that's unforgivable. Brock Purdy, you get the ball back, with under 2 minutes left, and Dallas still gets another chance with the ball. That's just unacceptable.
Yeah, dude, listen, the Niners shouldn't have won that game. I mean, that was an ugly game. Style of the fight was ugly and just low scoring. And, I get it. But, man, that one play to Kittle, that's really it. And I know you can say, well, that's their style. They're going to run the ball with McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. They're going to do dinks and dunks, quick passes to get the ball out of Purdy's hand. And then they'll try and pick their spots and attack you with one or two plays. I just feel like they're going to need a whole lot more than that against this Eagles team. And my point with the Case Keenum Jr. joke is there's all this love around Brock Purdy, right?
Yep.
They haven't lost a game, right? You look at that Vikings team that came into the Linc for the NFC Championship game. That was a 13-win Vikings team at the time. That was a team where
number one defense.
Case Keenum took over as a starter that year, week 2. He took that team on a 9-game winning streak. Go look at the numbers. Case Keenum 2017, Brock Purdy this year. in that 9-game stretch that Case Keenum won, rattled off 9 in a row. Their numbers are identical. Case Keenum had 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Brock Purdy, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Passing attempts, dead on similar. Yardage, dead on similar. Like, this kid is a backup quarterback. It's a great story right now. Maybe he's announced as a starter to start the year next year for them. I don't know. I don't care. That's not going to last. Like, this kid can be had. This is a different level of play right now on the road at Lincoln Financial Field, and I do not believe he has enough.
They let to your point earlier, they let the Seahawks hang in that game way too long. The talent disparity there was huge. The Seahawks, I would have rather seen the Lions in the playoffs. I mean, Aaron Rodgers gets on my nerves. I kind of would have rather seen the Packers in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I mean, damn it, give me the Commanders with Taylor Heineke over the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks, it's that wasn't an impressive win.
I'm with you. And that's another story where it's like Geno Smith came out the gates on fire, and then he kind of ended up showing us his true colors later in the year. He still had a nice year. I mean, he's a West Virginia guy. He's my guy.
Yep.
But I think if you go watch that game, that shows that this 49ers team, particularly against the pass, they're very, very much human.
Before we get into the game picks, because that's what the people came for, to hear how bad you think the Eagles are going to cook the Niners, obviously, because you're talking about Case Keenum Jr. So that rings bells of a certain score. But what do you think about the Cowboys throwing the quarterback under the bus? Before we get to teams that are still playing, let's talk about the Cowboys and their quarterback situation. What do you think about them on their Twitter account throwing him way up under the bus?
I mean, that was insanity. Insanity, right? I love it. But how the heck does that social media coordinator have a job? There's no way that person's still employed, are they?
I thought this was one of those like Elon destroyed Twitter moments where it was like, okay, this is a fake Twitter account where somebody like spoofed them. I was like, this is not the real account. Like, something's wrong.
There's no way. Like, there's no way. I mean, they might as well have tweeted Dak sucks.
Yes.
They might as well have tweeted like, Dak sucks, we hate you, you're the reason we lost. I mean, I don't know how you tweet that. There's no way you can still have a job after tweeting that. But I don't know what that means, because that person is not in the locker room, right? That's a person wearing a suit and tie in the offices. But like, either way, maybe they got the go ahead to send that tweet, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that person is employed. Maybe that person got a promotion. I don't know, dude.
But it might have been Jerry. Give me the damn phone.
It might have been Jerry. He might have been drunk, angrily tweeting. I don't know. Right? That's very plausible. But dude, yeah, it's Cowboys-esque, isn't it?
It's why they are who they are, and people who know the Cowboys either love them or hate them, because either you abide that kind of ridiculousness, or you're like most sane people and be like, okay, that's ridiculous. You can't. These are professionals. At the end of the day, he is the Cowboys quarterback, but he's a middle of the road quarterback, and above middle of the road, I would say middle of the road. And he didn't play that badly. I'm sorry. He didn't play like complete. There are other people who didn't get the job done.
Yeah.
They scored 12 points. I'm sorry. Like,
dude, listen, we give the quarterbacks way too much credit when they win. We give them way too much blame when the team loses. The NFL, it's not the NBA. Like, just because, and I'm not saying Dak's a superstar, but you can have a superstar quarterback and never win a Super Bowl. Like, you need.
No question.
There's 21 other guys that impact these outcomes of the game. And if you have one guy blow their assignment, that's the difference between a win and a loss. Like, so Dak played bad, but there were a lot of other guys that played badly in that game too. But the Cowboys are a dumpster fire. They have been. Yep. We're both 32 years old, Matt. Yes. And in our entire lifetime, we have never seen a successful playoff Dallas Cowboys team ever.
In our entire life of watching football, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we were in diapers.
Pre-K, first grade, second grade.
Yeah, we don't remember
first
that.
grade. Yeah. I mean, the concept of sports and first downs and all that. Like, I wasn't watching that. I'm sorry, I wasn't like
No,
booing or cheering.
no, like 93 Cowboys. I was 2, 3 years old. Like, no, like my earliest memories of NFL, I'm like 6, 7 years old. That's like standard, right?
Absolutely.
And since we're 5, 6, 7 years old, this Cowboys team has been just Groundhog's Day every year. They have all this talent. They're this and that, and they always disappoint Cowboys fans, and make us proud.
You make me very proud. I had to
Yeah.
make a quick pit stop in Cowboys land, because this is just so Cowboys-esque to throw their quarterback under the road, under the bus, so unwarranted, so gratuitous. But that's just who you guys are, and we love you. Keep it up.
Yeah. Great job,
Slow
Dallas.
clap. The line on the Bengals Chiefs game has moved. I guess apparently they're thinking Mahomes' ankle's doing a little better, or doing as well as he says it is. What are you thinking on that game?
Yeah, I mean, this line has just been constantly moving.
Yes.
For that reason, just the unknown of Patrick Mahomes. Like right now at DraftKings, the Chiefs are a 1.5-point favorite, and that's been bouncing back and forth. Bengals were a 1-point favorite, Chiefs 1-point favorite, Bengals half-point favorite, pick 'em. It's just been nonstop moving the entire week. I mean, listen, I'm not the guy like, let's go to Joe in the Northeast. Yeah, I've had a shoulder injury, so I know Jalen Hurts. Like, no, stop it. But I've had high ankle sprains, and those
Yeah.
injuries, Matt, they are a nightmare of an
No, they
injury.
are, and they can linger for 3 months
Yeah, dude.
sometimes.
And that looked like a legitimate, real deal high ankle sprain. He's going to play. He's going to play.
Yes.
But I think
And you
that's
can
gonna,
hobble around on it. You can, but
yeah.
you're not going to be you for some time.
No, I mean, I like the Bengals. Even if Mahomes was healthy, if that injury
Yeah.
never happened, I like the Bengals to win this game and get to
Me
the
too.
Super Bowl again. And this injury just gives me, even more confidence in my pick. So I'm picking the Bengals to win that game.
Me too. And I said a few episodes back, a couple weeks ago, that the Bengals were who I was most afraid that the Eagles would end up playing in the Super Bowl, because I think Joe Burrow versus Jonathan Gannon is just like, the airwaves will melt. Right, over the 2 weeks, if people are gonna freak out about having to face Joe Burrow if that's the case.
And rightfully so, man. I mean, Joe Burrow is, dude, he's just a beast, man. He's outside of Jalen Hurts, he's by far the best quarterback in the NFL right now. He's an absolute gamer, dude.
If that happens, if that ends up happening, are people going to talk about them as the best two quarterbacks? Jalen, the top 2-3 quarterback. If it ends up being Burrow versus Hurts for the Super Bowl.
No, because I think Jalen is going to consistently get slighted and disrespected and overlooked. That doesn't mean it's not the reality. I think if and when Jalen Hurts is in the Super Bowl this year, he's going to solidify himself as a top 2 to 3 quarterback in the league right now. But even if he wins one, I think he's going to get overlooked, and for stupid reasons. Well, this team is so good and blah, blah, blah. It's so dumb. But Jalen Hurts,
like,
man,
really good teams haven't lost the Super Bowl or not even made it.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about? It's like that stupid argument, like, well, Phil Jackson coached the bet. Like, yeah, no bleep.
Yeah, he did.
Like, you
Yeah, he
need
did.
great teams to win championships. What are we talking about, dude? What are we talking
And
about here?
even great people need somebody to give them that edge to take them to that next level. That's what Phil was for them.
Yeah, I mean, so like, yeah, Jalen has a really good team. That's, Brady had a bunch of really good teams too. It's just, it's how it goes. Like, champions are not alone in that journey.
When they beat the Rams, the Panthers, the Patriots only scored like 17 points, I want to say. The last one against McVay, wasn't it like 17-13?
Uh-huh. Yeah, maybe 17-14, something like that. Whatever. Yeah, it was very, very ugly and low scoring. Yeah.
And that's another one I'm going to give, when you're slicing up the pie, I'm going to give those like low scoring ones to Belichick.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. But I mean, to your original point, like Jalen Hurts has an opportunity this weekend to, shut a lot of people up and certainly solidify himself as an elite quarterback if he gets to the Super Bowl.
Will he get there? What's going to happen in the Niners-Eagles game?
Yeah, he's going to get there. I see the Eagles winning by double digits. I see the Eagles winning. Like, part of me wants to say 38-7. Part of me wants to say this game is over at the jump. But Niners are a really good team. And, crazy, I think a huge factor is going to be like the coin toss, right? Like if the Niners get the ball first and they establish the run and they get a heavy dose of McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell early, they get on the board first, they get up 7-0, that could set the tone for a different type of a fight and an outcome, probably a closer game. But if the Eagles have the opportunity to get the ball first, score first, I want to see what Brock Purdy looks like trailing 10-0, 13-0 in an NFC Championship game on the road, because their offense is not set up for that. They're not built to throw their way back from a 2-touchdown deficit. So if the Eagles are able to do that, I think this game could get ugly. And even if they're not able to do that, I see a dogfight and I see them, maybe up like 27-24 late, adding on a touchdown and winning like, 34-21, 34-24. I have the Eagles winning and winning relatively convincingly when it's all said and done.
I'm with you. I earlier in the week, I was saying 31-26, but the more I think about it, the Eagles actually this year have played quarterbacks a lot better. McGinnon has gotten up on guys and really has taken advantage of guys. I've seen him getting a near shutout. That near shutout of Daniel Jones, I know we're talking about Daniel Jones, but it was I got to give Gannon his flowers for last week because Daniel Jones just came off a hot game. I'm going to go Birds 33, Niners 22.
Okay. I like it. Listen, any outcome where the Eagles have more points than the 49ers, I love that prediction. So
a trophy.
Yes.
A trophy, some hats that we actually get to wear.
Some hats. Give me a Jalen quote, wearing the hat above the shoulder pads, the shirt with the trophy saying the job's not done. I'm
the new Twitter header for the next 2 weeks. I need to get the new image.
Yes. Rent still due.
Rent is still due. Man, Ryan, as always, great to have you on. When will you be on next on WIP so we can listen to you?
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'll be on over the weekend. You can give me a follow on social media, on Twitter at WiseRye, WISERYE. Overnight shifts over the weekend on WIP. You can also catch me during the day on the BetQL network. So just give me a follow. You'll be able to see everything I have coming up.
Do it. He's a great follow, great commentary, a lot of S talking, especially. It's good for it's like chicken soup for the Philadelphia fan soul. But thanks so much for coming on, Ryan. See you.
Matt, you do a great job, man. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks.